Let's do some RDLs. All right, RDL checklist. Number 1, your ribs and your pelvis need to be stacked. What does that mean? Most of us naturally kind of stand like this, a little bit of an arch in the back, pelvis is anteriorly tilted. We want to tuck that pelvis, get the rib cage, belly button, pelvis, everything is stacked in a line. We want to maintain that position the entire time, and that's probably the hardest part about this hinge movement. Something you can do at home to practice your hinge to make sure that you're keeping that neutral pelvis and spine is you can grab a broomstick or a mop stick or whatever you have, and you want to keep 3 contact points: tailbone, back, head. And when you hinge, you're pushing your hips back to the back of the wall, and then we're going to stand up. So again, pushing the hips back. We're not thinking about bending down. We're thinking about pushing the hips back and maintaining contact for all 3 points. Step 2, we want to keep our shin angle relatively vertical. So what we don't want is our knees traveling backwards and losing balance. We also don't want the RDL to become a squat where we're starting to go this way. You want your feet hip width apart. We don't need a super wide RDL like this. Hip width is good. I like to point my toes straight, and I recommend that most of my clients do that. Now, step 1, we're going to stack the pelvis and the rib cage. Step 2, we're going to initiate the movement. So remember, we're pushing our hips all the way to the back, keeping those shins nice and vertical. I like to stop just past the knees for me, but you're going to stop when your hips stop moving backwards. What this means is you're probably going to have to record yourself and take a look at it to see. Let me show you what we don't want. We do not want you to get to your end range of hip motion and then drop to the floor. We don't want this. We're not trying to touch our toes here. The last thing that's helpful with an RDL is thinking about when you're coming up, think about pulling yourself up with your hamstrings, back of your legs, and your glutes. This is a hamstring and glute exercise. That's where we should be feeling it. Don't think about just standing up, then you might use your lower back. Think about using those glutes and hamstrings. Cool, let's give it a shot. This rack is set up too high for me, but nothing new. Okay, feet hip width apart. All right, neutralize pelvis and rib cage.